Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg was caught in a lie after being pressured by lawmakers and residents of Palestine, Ohio, where there was a deadly derailment of a train carrying hazardous materials. Now, I'll get to the lie, but it had taken over 10 days, or about 10 days, of silence after that derailment for Pete Buttigieg to come out and actually say something. And of course, what he said really wasn't helpful. So now he claimed in a Twitter thread that he had no authority to reinstate Obama-era rules. So now those Obama-era rules were enacted in 2014 and repealed by the Trump administration. So now the Trump administration went and deregulated the rail industry after the Obama administration had put in these rules, which again were also watered down and weakened by lobbyists from the rail industry. So now these rules, which were repealed by Trump, required some trains carrying hazardous materials to replace their Civil War era braking systems with new electronically controlled pneumatic brake technology. Experts have said that the Ohio train derailment and the numerous other train derailments that are happening across the country could have been prevented by replacing their old Civil War era brakes. So now, Buttigieg said this, quote, "We're constrained by law on some areas of rail regulation, like the braking rule withdrawn by the Trump administration in 2018 because of a law passed by Congress in 2015. Buttigieg's tweet refers to a law passed by Congress, again in 2015, at the urging of the railroad industry, requiring the executive branch to conduct cost-benefit analysis of the ECP brake rule before enacting it. Trump used that law to then kill the braking rule, but the cost-benefit analysis that his administration had used to do so, to justify this, was subsequently discredited. A lot like, of course, the cost-benefit analysis that they had used to try to have pipelines get built, for example. So all these different things that the Trump administration had done based on faulty analyses, okay? An analysis. All right, so now, in response to questions from the Lever, a Transportation Department spokesperson said that its agencies would, quote, use all relevant authorities to ensure accountability and improve safety once the investigation into the cause of the derailment is completed. When asked about the braking rule, the spokesperson said that it would be difficult to reinstate the rule in its previous configuration, given the previous legal challenges. They said that proposing a new rule would require performing a new cost-benefit analysis, though they acknowledged that the department has the ability to prepare the analysis. So wait, you're saying that Pete Buttigieg, who says he is powerless to propose a new rule, could propose a new rule after ordering a new cost-benefit analysis to that rule, which, by the way, the cost-benefit analysis would be favorable to enacting these new rules, which would actually increase the safety of trains. I mean, isn't it cheaper to prevent massive derailments than allow them to derail? I mean, again, it wouldn't take that much to be able to, and by the way, these companies are billion-dollar companies. I think Norfolk Southern is worth about $55 billion. And by the way, they also did billions of dollars worth of stock buybacks, $12 billion. So, interesting. They have all this money, they could do the brake rule, and they could actually save money by not having trains derail all the time, spilling hazardous toxic materials. And by the way, which they would have to pay for. Allegedly. But no, can't do that. Can't do it. Now, Buttigieg could also use his current rulemaking authority to expand the definition of what a high hazard flammable train is to cover ones like in Ohio, which were not considered to be high hazard flammable trains. Well, If it's not high hazard and flammable, what the hell happened in Ohio? It looked pretty flammable to me. Looked pretty high hazard with the vinyl chloride. Now, in order to, or I should say, as a result of expanding that definition, it would subject these rails to more stringent safety regulations, which could have, again, help reduce the number of derailments. According to the lever, under the existing limited definition, the Ohio train, which was carrying 5 tanker cars of vinyl chloride, a class 2 flammable gas and known carcinogen, was exempted from the classification's more stringent safety regulations. And again, that's because of the Trump administration. Transportation regulations required high hazard flammable trains to travel at reduced speeds, utilize newer rail cars with enhanced safety features, and provide notification to state and travel agencies of the types of hazardous materials that they happen to be transporting. The federal agency tasked with investigating transportation accidents, the National Transportation Safety Board, previously unsuccessfully pushed for the Transportation Department to require ECP brakes on trains carrying Class 2 flammable gases. So now, they could do these things. There's a couple of things that Pete Buttigieg could do. He is not powerless to do these things. So why does Pete Buttigieg, why is he out here lying about not having the powers to actually propose these rules and to do these cost-benefit analysis? He could start today. He could come out and announce that. Why does he not? Well, because that would upset the rail companies. Now, Buttigieg's agency is also currently considering separate rules that would actually weaken brake testing standards. He's deregulating the rails. And by the way, that is at the behest and the order of the rail industry, whom he apparently is working for. Not for you, but for the industry. And it gets worse, by the way. The Biden administration is now also jumping in to defend Norfolk Southern from lawsuits involving train derailments. I'm not kidding. In the case against Norfolk Southern, the Biden administration has decided to jump in to a case they were not related to, right? They decided to come in anyway and side with the railroad against a cancer-stricken former rail worker. The lawsuit in question, which was filed in Pennsylvania County Court in 2017, dealt with a state law that permits plaintiffs to file suit against any corporation registered to do business there, even if the actions that gave rise to the case had occurred elsewhere. Now, of course, the American Association of Railroads, the industry's primary lobbying arm, had filed a brief on the side of Norfolk Southern, arguing that ruling in favor of the plaintiff would open up the railroads to litigation. Oh no, the litigation, about stuff that we could have actually, prevented by just spending a little bit of money on enhanced braking systems. And not only that, by the way, but also on more workers, rail workers. Look, the railroads are very, very short-staffed at this point. There's not that many workers, and yet they have increased the length of the trains. Now, the unions, of course, fought back on that. And unsurprisingly, and I'll get to the details on that, the Biden administration sided against the rail unions and for the corporations. So now, the Biden Justice Department recently filed its own brief in favor of Norfolk Southern. And it's been heard in the Supreme Court. So now, the Supreme Court has heard these arguments, and Justice Elena Kagan, who was appointed by President Obama, during oral arguments last fall, had asked Deputy Solicitor General Curtis Gannon why the government, the Biden administration, had chosen to personally get involved in this case. She asked, quote, "Mr. Gannon, the Solicitor General has a choice whether to participate in this suit or not. And so please don't take this at all as criticism. It's genuine interest and curiosity. What is it about this suit that has made you decide to participate?" His response, "We pointed out that not just that, the excessive availability of general jurisdiction would cause international concerns for trade with the United States and our commercial interests. Oh, commercial interests. What does that mean? Well, it means profit. If they allow people who are the victims of their derailments involving hazardous, toxic materials that end up getting into the atmosphere, into the ground, into the air, and get people sick, well, then that would mean that people would have the ability to sue the rail companies. And they don't want that. And the Biden administration, their lawyers from the DOJ are saying, we don't want that either. No. We don't want people to be able to sue the rail companies. We must protect the giant corporations. We must protect them at all costs. It doesn't matter. It's about their profits. They didn't have to jump in. They decided to do so. And by the way, getting back to the rail strike. Now, unions, again, because of being stretched to their limit, without enough workers, trains over 150 cars long, insane, with a lot less people that are able to, go through and actually be engineers on that train, to work on those trains. No paid leave. They can't afford to actually take a day off because these rail companies do not want people to take a day. They have to come in sick. They don't, again, have no sick days. They lose their jobs. They're basically stretching these people to their limit, to their breaking points, in order to maximize their own profits, which of course makes it far more dangerous, coupled with the old Civil War era braking systems, for there to be an accident, for there to be a derailment. And of course, when that derailment happens, we can't allow the people that are the victims of the derailment to sue. Now, the union went on strike, or tried to go on strike, sorry. They weren't even allowed to go on strike. The Biden administration came in as a strike breaker. I'm a pro-union president, except you just broke a rail strike. Along with the help of Congress. And by the way, progressives in Congress also supported breaking that rail strike. They signed on to that. Well, because it would hurt the economy. Oh, our precious, precious economy. We can't do anything. We have to protect corporations at all costs. The only people that are good in this story are the rail workers, the unions, and the victims. Corporations and the companies, no. They're not the good guys. It's the government. Look, understand, both Democrats and Republicans are not serving you. They're on the side of the corporations. You have to remember here that it is not just Republicans versus Democrats. And by the way, I am telling you that on a lot of issues, Republicans are horrifying, disgusting, okay? But on economic issues and on issues where it's labor versus corporations, Republicans and Democrats agree. We must crush unions, crush labor, and protect corporations, protect the economy, protect the bottom line. That's the one thing that unites both of those in the establishment. So the real issue here at this point isn't right versus left. It's the 99% versus the 1%. It is corporations versus labor. It's corporations versus regulation. Turns out we need regulation that saves people's lives. But apparently, as long as we have politicians that take money and do the bidding of the big donors, trains will continue to derail. Toxic chemicals will get into your soil, into your air, into your body, make you sick. And of course, we don't have universal health care that'll help you with that. No, that's on you. You have to take care of that. Because certainly the corporations aren't going to pay for it. And if there is a cleanup, it'll be funded by the government. Your taxes. Our taxes. Again, this is corporate rule.